This is a comedy podcast brought to you by stand-up comedian based in the United Kingdom, Lovdev Barpega, where he pulls random topics out from Reddit and puts his own view on them, basically. There's also a weird news. Today is episode 175, Heavy Metal. Hello, my lovely people out there. Hello. Welcome. How is everyone? Is all right, I'm guessing. I am fantastic. I can get to record a podcast because my builders are not here. The builders have been missing for 3 days. Have they ran off with my money? Or is it they just can't take the heat that the UK is currently producing of 29 Celsius, and for them, that's way too hot. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, so American folks, you're going to have to convert it yourself. I don't even know what Fahrenheit is. When I hear the term Fahrenheit, I think it's someone whose name's Farron, and we've got to work out his height in total. So back to the comedy podcast. I'm on drugs. I've had my coffee. I got up early today. I think your body gets used to getting up early, doesn't it? I'm supposed to be having a lie-in. It's my day off. But I'm used to getting up at 20 past 6. And today, for some reason, I woke up at 20 past 6 on the dot, not even a minute past or a minute before. It was on the dot. My alarm wasn't even set on my phone. I don't know how I done it. I think you just get used to getting up at that time. Although I went to bed late, I was watching that series called Dark on Netflix, which I know is a couple of years old. I was watching that. I've only got 2 episodes left of it. And it's just kind of a bit weird. It was all right at the start, but now it's just, I don't get it. Honestly, I don't get the whole show now. If anyone has seen it, can somebody explain to me what the whole thing is about? Is it worth watching the last season? Everything goes upside down. It's proper, it don't make any sense. None of it makes any sense to me. That's basically what I'm trying to say. I was looking out the window and my builder's still not here. They're absolutely lazy. I'm going to have to phone someone else to get them in. Phone their boss, say, get them in, man. The bricks are here. They said they were waiting for bricks. The bricks are here now. So they've got no excuse not to come over. So I don't know. I really don't know what's going on with them. Has everyone been enjoying the weather? Absolutely roasting in the UK at the moment. I thought about doing a barbecue. I might just do one today, because if I haven't got a gig, by the way, folks. I've got one tomorrow. This is the weekend. I haven't got one today. It doesn't matter, but yeah, we'll see. Let's do a topic, because I don't know what I'm going to talk about, in all honesty. Let's see what we can choose. I'm going to do this one, folks.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, what is it that's interesting, Lovdev? I'm going to tell you guys. Can you believe it's been 31 years ago? It says today on the article, but it's not today. 31 years ago, this time, the guy, O.J. Simpson, and his white Bronco led the police on a historical 90-minute freeway chase that changed LA forever. The chase was broadcasted live on television. It was watched by 95 million people. He later became the subject of a murder trial that divided America. Simpson died from prostate cancer on April the 10th. He was 76. He wasn't actually driving the vehicle. His friend, A.C. Cowlings, was behind the wheel, but he was sat in the back seat holding a gun to his temple, seemingly close to ending his life. Now, the press remembered the extraordinary event in response to Simpson's death, writing, "The freeway was like a parade, with the police, media, and fans following the juice. There were crowds on the overpass, signs, cheers, and fists punching in the air as the pursuit unfolded." LAPD notified Simpson's lawyer, Robert Shapiro, at 8:30 that morning that it planned to charge their client with first-degree murder over the killings of Brown, Simpson, and Goldman. Simpson initially said he was willing to comply with the police, agreeing not to arrest him until noon to allow him to see a mental health specialist amid concerns that he was suffering from suicidal depression. He had also written a suicide note. "I've had a great life, great friends." That last letter turned out to say, "Please think of the real OJ and not this lost person." The LAPD declared him a fugitive and issued an all-point bulletin and arrest warrant. As the TV news helicopter scanned the LA highways looking for Cowlings' Bronco, correctly assumed to be the escape vehicle of Simpson, reportedly called 911 and was traced to Santa Ana Freeway at 6:10. By 6:45, police officer Ruth Dixon spotted the Bronco on the Interstate 405 heading north, making contact with Cowling, who apprised her of the situation. She held back, pursuing the vehicle around 35 miles an hour. She was then joined by a further 20 police cars on its tail. 20 police cars on its tail. That is crazy. 60 miles chase. Finally ended at 8 o'clock. Is that because he ran out of fuel? Probably. Inside the car, they actually found £8,000 in cash, clothing, so he could get changed, a .557 Magnum, which is obviously a gun, Simpson's passport. Oh, he was really going to see a mental health expert. Family photographs and fake facial hair. I didn't know that. Is that what he did? This guy's a clown. No wonder he must have, obviously he did it, didn't he? He killed that his wife and someone else. "31 years ago." I just had to do a bit of quick maths and work out how old I was then. 1994 that happened. 94. What a long time ago. I think I was still in school then. That was my last year in school. I think, I left in 94, didn't I? It was in 95, I can't even remember. I think it was 94. I was 16. My daughter's just turned 16 and she's left school. Like secondary school. High school for you Americans. But I know you Americans leave high school at 18. Where in the UK it's 16. I can't believe it. The kids are growing up. Before I know it, she'll be 18. She'll be an adult. I've already said to her I'm going to teach her how to drive. Because I think it's good if you can get your kids, if you're financially settled, obviously, if you've got money, then you can get your kids to learn how to drive. So I want to make sure my daughter drives. There's so many comedians out there who don't know how to drive, which is quite shocking, in a sense. I don't know why. Obviously, there's issues or reasons why they never learn. But it amazes me how many don't. Like, how do they get to their gigs? I couldn't rely on public transport. I'd be annoyed. I've caught 1 or 2 trains sometimes. If I go into London, obviously I catch a train in because it just makes more sense. Commuting in London is obviously easier than anywhere else in the UK. So I've got to make sure my daughter knows how to drive. I mean, I don't drink, so there's no excuse for her to say. Or for me to say, I should say. pick me up from the pub because I'm not even going to be in there unless I'm doing a gig and I can't be bothered to drive and it's local. She might do it. I'd have to teach her how to drive in the motorway because I know the missus isn't going to do it. She doesn't know how to drive in the motorway.
Ask the UK.
It's time for Ask the UK. And I've done it again, haven't I? My fingers are not fast enough to pause the recording. Ask the UK. I quickly read this one. I thought, this has happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to some of you out there in this world. Scammers. I think it's a scammer. We'll have to see. It's been posted by somebody called Business Basil. What a great name. Business Basil says, offered to pay for a Mackey's today for a fella whose card had declined. He then began ordering more food without asking me first. That's so funny. Is this acceptable? Oh, God. That's so funny, man. So someone's card got declined and he offered to pay for his food. And the geezer just started ordering more food. That's mad, that is, isn't it? He just thought, you know what, I'm going to take advantage. I'm going to feed the family now. This guy's willing to pay for all of my meal. Shall we read what he's put down? Because it's happened to me, you see. I went to London with my son. I think it was about a year ago now. And we've got this tradition. We go to London. Obviously, we get off at Euston train station. And they've got a Burger King there. So we always have a burger. That's like breakfast for us when we get to London. It's just tradition. He loves burgers and he loves Burger King. So just makes sense. We went to Burger King. And you know where you order your food on the machine? The big screen that they've got. We was ordering our food there, me and my son. And this bloke come up and he went, oh, mate, could you get me a burger? I looked at him and I was like, all right. But he just blatantly asked me, and he didn't even look poor. He just said, can you get me a burger? He said, I haven't got any money. I'm waiting for some money from my sister who's sending it over to me. Well, that's a good excuse. I said, go on then, I'll buy you a burger. So I was selecting his burger. And guess what he said? Can you make it a meal? So he actually turned into making it a meal. I ended up spending £10 on him and I thought, you know what? It doesn't matter. He must do that all the time. He saw me from a mile away and thought, what a sucker. I've got him. I'm going to try that next time. I'm going to pretend I'm poor and I'm going to see if somebody will pay for my meal. So going back to Business Basil, he's actually put down, hi everyone, today for lunch I went to my local Mackey's. The self-service machines were out of order. I think that's what I meant, the self-service. So I went to join the line and the fella in front of me had his young son with him and his card got declined. I felt a little sorry for them and figured Mackey's is relatively cheap anyway, so I offered to pay for it. The man begins thanking me and stuff and turns to the Mackey's worker and says, in that case, please can you add an apple pie? And a mini Oreo McFlurry too. It's only a couple of quid more, isn't it, I think. I was a bit dumbfounded. He still continued to thank me, but even so, why did he add on more food without asking me? That's true. Someone's put down, he's taking the mick. Or I'll spell it out for you, Piss. He was taking the mick. Oh, that's so funny, man. Oh, God, mate, you got proper hammered there. To say that from your own kindness of, you know, doing a good deed, trying to feed his son. I think that's, if you never had his son on there, you wouldn't have done it. I know it. You would have just let him pass on. But because he had his son, you thought, oh, you know what? If that was my kid and that was me in that situation, I'd want some help. And you obviously helped him. Oh God, the Mad Dad did a McFlurry on top. And an apple pie. Tell me which McDonald's you go to, because I'm going to try that next time with you. I was going to do confessions, right? But before we do confessions, I've got my own confession. Admittedly, I have to tell you what I've done. You know, I don't usually eat breakfast when I wake up. I normally eat after 12, so yes, I know. I miss the most important meal of the day. I've always had 2 meals, basically, for a long time. For some reason today, I don't know why, but when I woke up, because obviously I woke up early, woke up at 6:20, around 9 o'clock, I felt hungry. And I never really feel hungry. And I don't know whether that's because I went to the gym last night, I did eat when I come back, or because I haven't got as much energy as before, maybe that's the reason why I felt peckish. So I thought, you know what, I'm at home. I'm just going to have something to eat, something light. So my confession is I've ate 2 hazelnut cakes. But they're not big cakes. They're like, well, every time I look at them, they're like something that you get from the airport. So they're all wrapped up individually. You know, if you're on an aeroplane, you'd probably get that same thing that I eat. I had 2 of them, and I feel kind of bad now. And I don't know why I ate it. I'm not on holiday, although I am, kind of. I've got a week off from work because of certain reasons. I don't know why, but I just felt really peckish. It was really bizarre. Like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But when I do go on holiday in a few months, I definitely will be eating breakfast. Even though I don't. So let's do the real confession.
Confessions the church, red it's the priest, a click to cleanse or fuel the beast.
It's confession time. Let's see who's going to confess today. Somebody called Independence. Independence confession is, I was an altar boy for 10 years and started doing this. Oh, what is it that he started doing? Could be anything. As the title stated, says Independence, I was an altar boy in our local Catholic church for about 10 years. I started when I was probably 8 or 9, I'm guessing. When I turned about 12, I started smoking pot quite a bit. So I would take the collection money and take out $40 every week and buy a half ounce of weed. You rebel. I used the Catholic Church collection money as my personal weed bank. That's what Jesus would have wanted. I don't really feel bad about it. I don't feel great about it. I'm not proud of it, but it happened. I got some great weed out of it. And to be honest, I was thinking about using the Catholic Church anyway, because after 10 years, I have not been touched, molested, or groped by any priests. I believe they are prejudiced against short, fat white boys. I mean, for God's sake, I am surely good enough for something else. I'm not going to say what he says, but it's quite rude. Is suing and fearing the butt thing was a joke. I did steal $40 every week. That's a lot of money if you add it all up. From the church collection to buy my weed. I'm not really looking for advice or anything. I just thought I'd share it. What the hell? Something I did, and it's a confession. By the way, any of you thinking of doing it, it's very easy. When I used to go to Catholic church, I don't know where the money box was. The Catholic Church has billions and billions of dollars. If they're missing $40 for weed, then I would be very surprised. This guy, he doesn't care, man. Temples and churches and other places of worship do make a lot of money, though, don't they? I even did a joke about it years ago. I pretended to be a Sikh priest. Now, I'll tell you what happens in a temple most of the time. At the end of a ceremony, the priest will stand up and he will tell God how much everyone's donated. He actually reads out people's names and how much money they've gave. So when I was a kid, I remember I used to listen to who gave money. Half of them, I don't know who they are. They all sounded the same to me. They all had Singh on the end of their name. So I was like, okay, so-and-so's gave a tenner. Oh, he's gave 100 quid, you know. I bet the priest is thinking, oh, yes, that's my Netflix special sorted for the whole month. They are raking it in. Raking it, these temples are. So moving on from churches onto paranormal. They are kind of related, aren't they? Weird things happen in both places. I don't know what I'm talking about. Someone in the paranormal group has asked a question to everybody else, and I do like this question. It's been put up by somebody called Dramatic Ability. Dramatic Ability has asked everyone in this group, parents, what's a spooky, unexplainable thing your child has said or done? Now, Dramatic Ability says he loves, or they love, hearing stories about things children have said or done that cannot be explained. So, for instance, past lives, past family members they've never met, figures adults can't see, etc. What's your story? So everybody in this group has to reply, and they've put down their experiences. I will be picking a couple of them, just so they are not alone. Before we read them, there has been one thing that's happened to me. Maybe I've mentioned it before. I don't know. I'm going to have to stop that music to do me head in. I had one experience as a child, kind of a child, I was more of a teenager. I think I've mentioned it before. I'll mention it again briefly. When my nan died, we had a funeral. We went back to her house. And all of my cousins were very young then. And we was all sat together just trying to have a debrief about Nan's funeral. One of my aunties suggested we all sang a song. So we all decided to sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And this was in my nan's living room. It was all sat on the floor. And it was round about evening time, so it was getting dark. And I remember we was all singing it. And as we were singing it, the light in our house started flickering. And it's never done that before. It just kept going bright and then dim and then bright. You know what I mean? It was proper flickering. And we just all looked up at the ceiling and we just sang louder. And that continued all the way through the song, honestly. Although that nursery rhyme is only a couple of seconds long, that's how long it went on for. So that's the only experience I've had as a child/teenager that I can remember anyway. So going back to Dramatic's abilities question, I want to know what other people have put down. Somebody called Wonderland Resident says, I'm not a parent, but my mom has quite a few stories about me. So I'll relate a couple of them. When I was a toddler, me and my mom briefly lived with my godmother. At that time, my godmother was dating a guy who apparently had really striking green eyes. One evening, while she was getting ready for a date, I asked her, are you going to see the man with the pretty eyes? She said yes. And then I got closer and whispered in her ear, be careful, he's a bad man. I've never been given any details about what happened after that. Most of my mom or godmother have said is he turned out to be a very bad man. I had only seen the guy once, very briefly, while I was standing in a doorway when he'd come to pick her up for a previous date. He hasn't said or done anything to me except smiled at me when my mum introduced herself while she was holding me. Ugh. Not long after that, me and my mum moved in with her parents and sister. One night, my auntie was leaving for a party, and when she hugged me to say goodbye, I said, "You better hurry so you can help the girl in the bathtub." My mum asked me what I meant, and I told her, "There's a girl sleeping in the bathtub at the party. She can't breathe. She's gonna drown." My auntie started shaking at this point and asked me, "What would make you think of something like that?" I said, "Checha told me. He's my friend. You can't see him, but he tells me things that are gonna happen. He says you should go now so the girl doesn't drown." My aunt left and said she tried to ignore what I said because it scared her, but eventually she had to use the bathroom, and sure enough, she found a girl drowning in the bath. She had just passed out drunk, and her friends tossed her in there and turned on the faucet to sober her up, and then wandered off and forgot about her. My aunt pulled her out and got her to a hospital while chewing out the friend that had put her in there and saved her life. You are like a psychic, this, what's her name? Wonderland resident. Ooh. Let's read someone else's comment. Somebody called GL2. When my middle child, who's 25 now, happy birthday, was a toddler, he would sometimes see and sense things. One incident that really stands out was on a windy fall day. When he was about 3 years old, my husband and I took him to his older brother down the street to park to play and burn off some energy. We had obviously been to this park numerous times, and he loved to run around and play there. It was usually hard to get him to leave. This was a bowl-shaped park surrounding a little lake with sloping hills and large oaks all around. We're having a great time that afternoon because it was cold and windy, and we was all enjoying playing, running around together. I noticed my 3-year-old had stopped playing and looked very serious and rather worried. I asked him what was wrong, and he said, "I want to go home, Mummy. I want to go home." I thought that was out of character for him, but I took his little hand and began walking out towards my husband and other son. That's when there was a crack sound and a huge branch broke off and fell right where we were just standing. If not for this instance to leave, we could have been seriously maimed or even killed that day. I will never forget that incident. That is crazy. I wonder if someone or something warned the child, or he just felt in danger. That is quite a bizarre story. I bet there's a lot of stories like that out there. Kids being warned about certain things not to do it, and they don't. Oh, this is why I love this paranormal. It's a great question, Noel. Thank you for asking, everyone. Dramatic ability. I've got to move on with the podcast, so I'm going to end it, as you guys know, with a weird news. This weird news story comes all the way from Taiwan. Yeah, Taiwan, folks. Today's weird news story is a man suffers heavy metal poisoning after using the same thermos for 10 years. This guy is a legend who used something for 10 years, but unfortunately got poisoned. What happened to him? He's a Taiwanese man who died of suspected lead poisoning after using the same rusty thermos for over 10 years. Despite visible signs of metal degradation, he was not willing to purchase another one. He wanted to go all the way. A Taiwanese media recently reported the tragic death of a man whose severe lung infection was exacerbated by heavy metal poisoning. The man reportedly started experiencing health problems about a year ago, and blood tests showed that he was suffering from heavy metal poisoning. While trying to discover the source of the contamination, doctors learned that the man had been using the same thermos on a daily basis for 10 years. Upon examining the container, they discovered rust and formed inside of it, which hadn't prevented the patient from using it to store the acidic beverages like coffee, tea, and juice. Unfortunately, despite seeing the rust and knowing that his thermal container was obviously not made from a rust-proof material, the patient continued using it, relying only on simple rinsing to clean it. It's not clear when the thermos started leaking heavy metals into the drinks, but by the time the patient showed up at the hospital, it was already too late. Unfortunate. The poisoning affected his immune system, and despite the doctor's best efforts, he succumbed to pneumonia. Less than a year after his initial diagnosis, the thermos may have been used for a long period of time, and in particular, toxins generated when containing carbonated beverages such as cola may have entered the body. This is what the doctors have said. The man's tragic case has been shared, obviously, by mainstream media in Taiwan as a cautionary tale, with health experts advising people to make sure they opt for a thermos made of 304 stainless steel. Avoid using it to carry acidic beverages and make sure to clean it regularly. Also, changing a thermos after 2 or 3 years of constant use is recommended. I've got a thermos. It's like a mug thermos, so I always make my coffee in there. Do I need to change it after 10 years? Or before 10 years? After 10 years, with me on the next weird news story. You'll all be reading about me. Do I change it or do I just leave it? I don't know now. It's getting me paranoid. Obviously, I'm going to look for signs. It looks absolutely fine to me. Things do degrade, though, don't they? We've got things in our family that have been there for years. Years. Donkeys, pots and pans, still there. Still going. I'm sure one of us has got an aluminium one. And you're not meant to use that. That's banned. We still got it. Indians, eh? Trying to save money. There you have it. That was today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, folks, the best way to support me is share it, like it, leave a comment. If you fancy sponsoring me, you can sponsor me. Why not? $3 a month. It's nothing, is it? And it will help pay for this, because I don't know why I do it. I think I do it for my own pleasure, to be honest. But, oh well, that's life. So, I'll speak to you guys soon. Enjoy your week, whatever you're doing. Enjoy the hot weather.